It was the morning of September 16th, 1994.
Children at a school in Zimbabwe said they received a warning. Visions of Earth in peril, technology out of control, and nature collapsing. The source? Not a teacher, not a book, but extraterrestrial beings that stepped out of a silver craft near their playground. Dark, slender, with large black eyes. More than 60 children told the same story. Decades later, they still stand by it. So, what really happened at the Ariel School?
On the morning of September 16th, 1994, with the adult faculty engaged in a staff meeting indoors, approximately 62 students aged between 6 and 12 witnessed an extraordinary event. As they played outside, they observed one or more silver discs settled into a bushy off-limits area. Shortly after landing, several beings emerged. The children's accounts of these entities were strikingly similar, almost identical across the board. They were described as humanoid, with large, black, teardrop-shaped eyes and long, slender bodies, and had a quiet, almost unsettling presence.
Your hand, the size complete.
They were oval, kind of like that.
Oval.
Yes, it's a silver oval thing that flew past really slowly. I saw the bigger one and a spaceship, like 4 or 5 of them. It was red, green, and yellow.
There was this big ship. It had these lights, these petals, and it flew.
I thought, no, it's not a UFO. And then I looked carefully at it, and I thought maybe. Big black eyes, and was dressed in a black bodysuit.
They were wearing pure black.
One was standing in front of the ship, and then the other one had long hair. But the one who was standing in front, he didn't have any hair at all.
He was dressed in black, and he had big eyes.
Show me with your hand how big the eyes
They
were.
were shaped like something like that.
What did you think it was?
Well, I thought twice. I thought it was an alien, and then I thought maybe it was the garden or someone.
The most unique and compelling aspect of the encounter was the communication. The beings did not speak, but rather they communicated telepathically with the children. The overwhelming theme of the message was an environmental warning. The children said they felt a sense of sadness and a deep concern from the beings, who showed them images in their minds of a world in peril. They saw visions of a future where trees were cut down, where polluted rivers flooded, and where technology was used for destructive purposes rather than to help humanity. The message was not one of fear, but of profound concern and urgency, leaving a lasting impression on the young witnesses.
It was like in the world, all the trees will just go down and there will be no air and people will be dying. I think that in space there's no love, and down here there is.
There is love.
Yes.
They phoned the ZBC and BBC correspondent in Harare saying they sighted an unidentified flying object last night.
And though he was once skeptical that beings visited from other planets, he now believes differently.
The incident quickly attracted attention from various media outlets and researchers. Disbelief was the immediate reaction from the teachers and some parents, but the sheer consistency of the children's testimonies was impossible to ignore.
I've told everybody is we are dealing with children here.
Right.
Sometimes the imagination can get carried away with them.
Yeah. Right. Okay. How many of you still think they're just making it up?
The thing that got me was that there were no adults outside. None of us saw it. We just happened to be in a staff meeting.
I totally believe the children. They came running up here in such a panic. And I mean, even if we had staged it, they could not have run all together like that. We just heard them screaming, ah, and then they were here, and child can't make that up.
See anything. I think they say make believe story that they actually created. That's my feeling.
What do you think started the story?
Since during that time they talk about meteorites and all that. I suppose somebody created the story and they sort of thought maybe he had seen something.
One of the first on the scene was a journalist and UFO investigator, Cynthia Hind, who meticulously documented the children's accounts and their drawings. She was astounded by how the children's drawings, created independently, all depicted the same disc, the same large-eyed beings, and the same details.
It's a very typical case, and I've handled several hundreds in southern Africa. Well, I certainly believe the children. We have some extremely interesting pictures, and there's certainly some of the things they've told me they couldn't have known about. Impossible.
BBC correspondent Tim Leach visited the school on September 19, 1994, to interview pupils and staff. He later remarked,
I handled war zones, but I could not handle this UFO thing. It just didn't make sense.
reflecting the profound impact the children's accounts had on him as a man accustomed to witnessing and reporting on trauma. The credibility of the case was significantly bolstered in November 1994 when Harvard psychiatrist Dr. John Mack traveled to Ruwa to investigate the incident. Known for his work on unexplained phenomena, Dr. Mack interviewed several children and concluded that their experiences were genuine. He noted that the children were not fantasizing or making up a story. They were describing a reality as they perceived it, and their fear, sincerity, and consistency were powerful indicators.
It seemed that he was looking at all of us.
What did it feel like when he was looking at you?
Felt scared.
It felt scared? What was scary about it?
Well, felt scared because I've never seen such a person like that before. And I saw this person, and it had big eyes. That's all I saw about it, big eyes.
They had short legs and quite a long top.
Mm-hmm.
With a big head and eyes that are bigger than ours.
How much bigger than ours?
4 or 5 times the size.
4 or 5 times the size of ours.
So then I was looking at him, right?
Yeah.
And then he was looking at me back. I couldn't just keep on looking at him, so I had to stop and I looked sideways.
But I was looking straight into his eyes. Well, he never said anything. It's just that the face is the eyes.
Dr. Mack stated that the Ariel School sighting was one of the most credible UFO encounters he had met with, particularly because the witnesses were so young and untainted by popular culture or a desire for fame.
A couple of the kids, not these, I would say to them, well, just to play the devil's advocate, I would say, look, let's say that, adults would, we'd say that one of you made this story up as a kind of prank, and you told your friends, and you sort of all thought it'd be a great trick to play on everybody that you saw this, and the kids would hear me and they'd think about it and they'd say, well, yes, I suppose, but no, here's what I saw, and they would say their own firsthand experience.
The Ariel School incident has been the subject of various analyses. The leading skeptical explanation centers on the theory of mass hysteria or collective imagination. Some researchers suggest that the children's accounts could be attributed to a shared psychological phenomenon where one child's interpretation or misinterpretation of a natural event, like a kite or distant aircraft, sparked a story that was then elaborated upon by the entire group. However, the consistency of their testimonies and the detailed drawings they produced challenged this explanation, as a shared hallucination of such complexity would be highly unusual. Theories from the pro-extraterrestrial camp suggest that the incident was a genuine visitation. Proponents point to the fact that the children's accounts were not a product of suggestion from an authority figure. The teachers were not present and were initially disbelieving. The message about the environment, they argue, is a common theme in abduction and contact cases and aligns with the idea of a technologically advanced civilization warning humanity about its self-destructive path. No definitive explanation has been established, and the incident remains one of the most compelling UFO encounters involving children, prompting ongoing discussions about the nature of the experience. Over the years, the Ariel School UFO incident has been revisited in documentaries and articles. The 2020 documentary Ariel Phenomenon dwells into the accounts of witnesses, now adults, exploring the lasting impact the experience had on their lives. Many of them, now parents themselves, continue to discuss this event and its significance, standing by their childhood testimony.
That it did happen.
It's a long story, is the answer. I think the answer will come maybe in this lifetime, maybe in the next.
This is not going to end at all, for sure. It's not. I think it's only the beginning.
We can't change the world, but we can make a difference.
We can.
That's the message I would have in my heart from what I experienced.
The incident has also contributed to broader discussions about the phenomenon of UFO sightings and the need for further investigations into such occurrences. For many, it serves as a powerful reminder that some things in our world cannot be easily explained. The Ariel School UFO incident stands as a significant event in the study of unexplained phenomena. The consistent accounts from children, the investigations by credible journalists and researchers, and the lasting impact on the witnesses contribute to its status as one of the most intriguing UFO encounters on record. It leaves us with a final lingering question. What was the truth they saw?
Maybe they're trying to communicate with us, show us something which we don't know about.
I think they want people to know that we're actually making harm on this world and we mustn't get too technology.